started. Oh, I wanted to hit record. Thank you, Tina. Perfect. All right, let's get started then. So everyone, again, this is being recorded. We'll post this tomorrow morning for anyone that missed it or anybody wants to go back and listen to parts of this as well.
Hi, I'm here to see Rose.
Okay, everyone go on mute. You can hear people's conversations, and that's not going to help. Everyone should go on mute, please. Okay, somebody's singing, and all not that good either. So. All right, thanks. All right, folks, so we're going to go through this. It's going to be pretty quick, so we have some time for questions at the end. Okay, parents, you really need to go on mute. Everyone should be on mute unless you're asking a question. All right, so regional championships are this weekend on Sunday. So this is Sunday, November 21st. We're right back at Santa Clarita. So some of this stuff everybody's going to know, but I just want to make sure everybody's clear about it. So it's local again. It is the regional meet. It happens to be here. It could have been in Nevada. It could have been in San Diego. It's usually the 3 locations it rotates from, but it just happens to be this year that that's where it landed. So we're going right back to the same course. Questions about the course is yes, it is identical to the course the kids already ran, so they don't have to do the course walk. They'll know the course. They'll be familiar. It'll be nice and good in that sense. All the runners that qualified right from the association championships that we have at practice right now and that showed up on that spreadsheet that we posted on Sunday are all eligible to run. We've made a few adjustments based on people that aren't going, especially in the situations where we know someone's like 6U, for example, that can't go to nationals. So we made some fixes there. Nothing changes here in terms of qualifying from regionals to nationals. It's also going to be top 8 for each team that qualifies, right? So if the teams are top 5 as a team, the top 8 will go. Top 5 teams advance. Top 30 individuals advance as well. So there could be a situation where one of our teams doesn't make it. They're 6th or 7th in the race. But if any 1 or 2 or 3 of our individuals are in the top 30 overall for the whole race, for all the teams, including the unattached runners, meaning they're not part of a team, then they will advance as well and go to nationals. Okay. A few things in terms of rules reminders, right? We talked, some of us were talking after practice or at the end of practice about a few kind of rules that we sometimes forget to mention, but they're important. There's no pacing. Pacing isn't allowed in anything that's related to USATF, whether it be race walking, whether it be track and field, whether it be cross country. And be very careful with that, because as we progress, like now that it's the regional championship, it's more likely that somebody could call you on it, right? And they could tell an official and they could record it and they could make an issue of it. So don't run alongside your child or any child for that matter. Stand there in one place and steer.
What does pacing mean? Is it telling them what their time is, or is it literally trying to run the pace?
Trying to run alongside of them. It's honestly a kind of a silly rule, but it is what it is, right? So even taking, I forget what the number of steps is, but it's as little as like 5 or something alongside of them is considered pacing. So even when you're like running from one location to the other, make sure you go out of your way to not run along the course, because you could be just running to get to another spot to cheer them on. And some of you parents, you're runners yourself, so you're like, I'll sprint ahead and then cheer them on. But as you're doing that, you're actually running alongside of them. That could be considered pacing as well. So kind of make sure you kind of go off, 10, 20 feet away from the course and then scramble to the next spot and then stand there and cheer them on. We don't have to like make a huge deal of it, right? But just be careful, right? There's always that possibility. And the reality is, as our team gets better and things get more competitive and we're closer to winning races, there's a chance that a coach may say, oh, I'm going to get them on that one, right? That wasn't an issue a few years back, so, but it is today. Same thing with like water. You cannot hand the runner water. You can't provide any type of aid in any way during the race, right? After the race is a different story, but you're not allowed to say, well, I just gave him water because it was really hot. That's not allowed. Any type of aid, believe it or not, if somebody falls, if your child falls and you go pick them up, that's considered aiding a runner, and that's not allowed either. I know that sounds crazy. As a parent, you're like, what do you mean? My kid just fell. But yeah, they have to get up and they have to continue running on their own. So patting them on the back, right, or something like that, like, you know, almost like a high five, that's considered pushing them. You can't do that either. And I know these are silly things. They rarely happen. They're rarely reported, but just be careful with those things. Nationals is up next, right? It's not till December 11th, so we have some time in between. Paris, Kentucky, all of you should know this, but quickly going through them, right? Qualifications for regionals will run at nationals, top 8, top 5. I mean, we went through this already. Top individuals advance. We'll get into more nationals after regionals, right? But just to kind of keep that on the horizon. And quick commercial break on this, please. If there's still a few people that put, you know, can we talk? And if for some of you I've talked to you, some of you I have not, right? So please speak to me tomorrow at practice if you're still in a position of not knowing whether you're going to go to nationals or not. In most cases, it won't be a major impact from those that I've seen, but in some it could be a significant impact if the team makes it and those runners cannot make it. So we need to know ahead of time so we can inform the other parents and possibly make adjustments, even though I don't know at this point if we can make many adjustments. Travel.
Coach, I have a quick question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for the top 5 teams, do you mean top 5 teams within Whittier Warriors or top 5
No.
teams from other competitors at the meet?
No. So every age division is separate. So 8 and under girls is a separate division. 8 and under boys is a separate division. In each of those division, top 5 teams that finish at regionals will advance to nationals.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So it's Whittier Warriors is just one team, and then there'd be potentially 4 other teams, right? And those
Within that age group.
Within that age group and within that gender, yeah. And all 5 of those would advance.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
How many teams per heat?
Per heat. So there's only one, like in track, there's multiple heats. In cross country, there's no heats. Everybody runs together. So all 8 and under teams will run 8 and under boys at the same time.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that question. How many per heat? How many teams are going to compete? Like OC Grid, the Shockwaves?
It varies. So approximately it'll be 12 to 15, but not all 12 or 15 will have full teams, right? For example, Shockwaves and the 8 and under girls only fielded 3 runners this last week, so they weren't able to score in that, but they were there technically as a team. So it varies. I mean, we'll have some divisions that may barely have 5 teams, right? So all 5 get to go. Others that will have 13 teams scoring, and only the 5 will go. Yeah, and that's why for us, not just for us, for any coach and any, well, honestly, in any sport, we have a saying in cross country coaching. We say that the number 1 task of a coach is getting runners to the line, meaning the starting line. That's our biggest task. After that, everything's a bonus, right? But if you don't get your runner to the start line because they're injured, sick, unmotivated, pissed off at you, or whatever, then we failed already. There's nothing we can do after that. So that's the primary thing. All right, flights, many of you have got them already. If you haven't, and again, we're going to go over each division right now, so that's going to take some time, but we'll try that right now. But if your child has a very good, or your team and your child have a very good chance of advancing, if you haven't got your flights, get them now. Literally the minute after regionals is over, the prices are going to go through the roof. That's what they usually do. So if you can get them now, if you're not sure and you want to wait, of course, that's your choice. Get them refundable if possible. Or be willing to take credit if something goes wrong, right? And kids don't end up making it. I can't guarantee anything. I'm going to give you my best guesses in a little bit. Rental cars as well. I think it's getting better, but I know during the summer, during nationals, the rental car situation was pretty bad and prices were high as well. I don't know how much better that is today. Travel buddies, right? So we're all kind of meeting out there. So we're not all going to the airport together. It's just too many. But traveling with a few other families makes it a lot easier and safer as well, right? You guys get a flat tire in the middle of nowhere. It's just nice to kind of be with the group. We're going to have a group meeting. We'll talk more about that after regionals, but we will have ability to communicate between all of us that are going to nationals. We need help, and we won't necessarily do it here, but please provide it, and we'll throw up a Facebook post or something or at practice. If anybody still has ideas for the fun Sunday, right, the day after the race in the Nashville area, we have some things, and parents have pointed out a few things, but if you have other ideas, bring them forward. We haven't solidified on what we're doing that day. We want to find something fun for the kids to do, or even multiple activities. Also on the way from Paris to Nashville, meaning Saturday afternoon, there may be time to do something small as well on the way. So there's something on the way that we can stop and do. That's an option as well. Team dinner Friday as well. If you guys, those of you that are great at finding restaurants, we can find something where we can accommodate the size that could be potentially as high as 100 people, right? Then help us out with that as well. Any ideas are welcome. And again, we're going to get into who will go, right? The big question, which is difficult to answer, but we'll do that in a second. We'll know for sure after Sunday, right? So there is nothing for sure today. There will be nothing for sure until Sunday. Some people have asked about rankings and how well they did at associations. None of that matters. PRs, all that stuff doesn't matter. It's how they do on Sunday, period. So we'll go over that in a little bit. We're going to look at simulations. And again, this is still only a good guess, but it'll give us some idea. So let's look at that real quick. So here is, and you could, by the way, you can do this on your own too. I think it allows everyone to do it, but athletic.net, if you go find our homepage and go to the actual race that we're doing, you can actually simulate the racing. And what they do is, just so you know, they include every member of that team. If one runner is signed up for that race, and I don't like how they do that, but they include every potential PR. It's based on PR. So some runners ran races like the one here at Leg Lake that was super fast and I believe short as well. So they're like 45 seconds faster in most races, at least. So keep that in mind. Our course was fairly fast compared to like the Huntington Beach one or even the one we just ran. So it's based on PRs and it may not give you an exact of where teams are ranked, but that's what they use for ranking. So teams that are competing at regionals this Sunday with whatever number of kids, all their kids are included in these results. So these are the boys, boys 8 and under. And so there you can see we're ranked number 1, right? But we were not number 1. We were second at this race, right? And this includes a few more teams. But this is what it's looking like right now. So again, if your kids are 8 and under, if you're not bought flights, but you are committed to going, you should be buying those flights right away. If you need to talk about it, please meet with me tomorrow at practice so we can figure that out to make sure we field the team, because that would be sad for us not to be able to field the team after all this effort. So let's figure that out soon. And parents, I will say this, I know I've said it a couple of times, if, and again, people have to be very conscious of their own situations. We know this is a tremendous expense to go to these very far away trips. If you need financial assistance in any way, this team can provide it in some ways. And I know it's not an easy conversation to have a lot of times. It is completely anonymous. We will not sit there and brag like, hey, we helped this many kids and we did this and we did that. And it'll be literally myself and maybe 1 or 2 other people of the whole team that will be aware of that assistance, and that's it. But if you need assistance with that, please talk to us. I would hate for a kid to miss because we weren't able to provide, and the whole idea of this team is well beyond just running races. So please communicate with me privately on that if you choose to do so. All right, what else? Girls 8 and under is here. So you can see here right now, it's only looking like 5 teams will be fielded, but we'll see what the situation is there. And by the way, there's teams missing. So like, for example, I've seen areas where for some reason Flash doesn't show up on some of these, and I don't know why. But in either case, this is what shows up. It shows our girls are 4th. They did better than that at the last race, so we'll see how they fare there as well. And we've got a new member joining us as well, so hopefully she'll be able to help us. So that's the situation for the girls there. I think they'll be fine, and I think they'll finish better than what they're showing here. But that's where they stand. If you can see, it's only 3 points difference here, and 10 points difference here. I think we can take these 2 teams pretty easily. And Shockwaves may or may not show up with their full squad. So because they're not going to Kentucky, they're going to AAU route this year. All right, let's go to the next grouping. Oh, and another thing, parents, as I'm doing this, you can see down here, I should have mentioned this, and I'll show the boys real quick. These numbers are what they're placed individually. So according to this, again, it's not 100% foolproof by any means. This is what it shows the runners finishing in individually. Remember, top 30s go individually, even if the team doesn't make it. So that's the girls there. That's their names, and then the top 7 it shows here. And going back to the boys, we didn't point that out. Here's the boys, and that's what they show. But again, it's only the teams that are appearing here. It doesn't show unattached runners, so that could be a factor as well. But just to give you some idea. All right, we're going to change this to 3K. Go through grades for 9-10. Here's the boys, third. That's what we have them on right now. I believe we were third at the last race as well. None of the new ad teams are factoring these races so far. And again, individual positions are here. So a lot of these kids are in a good position to make it individually, even if for some reason the team doesn't make it through. But again, you're going to have to add in runners that we're not accounting for, a lot of unattached and so on. Here's the girls. The girls are ranked 4th. And again, individual here as well. And again, I should mention not just unattached, but any team that doesn't field a full team, they're not counting them here. This is being kind of strictly by these teams here. So if there's teams down here that aren't showing up because they only have 3 or 4 runners, those 3 or 4 runners could be faster than some of our kids, and they're going to push them back by 3 or 4 places. So again, just showing you what we have available right now. All right.
Coach, is a full team 7 runners?
So minimum to field a team is 5. And then in most cross-country racing, 7 is really a full team, but 5 is all you need to score. 6 and 7 displays, and in USATF at the youth level, they allow 8. So it's actually 8 in all, 6, 7, and 8 all displaced runners as well. But the bare minimum is 5 to field a team.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so let's switch to 11-12. Here's the girls. So 11-12, the girls are 6. So by these stats, the 11-12 girls will not make it. But again, they ran very well this last weekend. If they can run another run like that, I think we've got a shot. So look at them there. Here's your positioning in terms of individual rankings, which gets a little more difficult. And by the way, I've mentioned this a few times, but 11-12 girls is the hardest, most competitive division in USATF youth cross-country running. Always is, always has been, probably always will be. And you can see by the number of teams, and you can see by where our girls place. Our girls are running very well, but this is where they place based again on PRs only. Right, so they're going to have to move a spot to be able to go as a team. And then the boys 4th, which they finished 4th this last weekend as well. Not too far from, and this differential is actually very accurate. It's almost the same as it was at the race itself. So we've got a little bit of work to do if we want to get into the top 3. That's your drop. Still significant gap. It's not absolutely not overcomable, but it's a comfortable gap there. I think these boys will be fine. But again, you can see the individual placements as well. Account for the ones missing. So that'll give you some idea. All right, let's go to the 4K, 13-14, switch that. Right, boys, 13-14, 5th, but it's only showing 5 teams, right? So if there's another team that we're not accounting for that can come in here, it could change this makeup, but right now it's only showing 5 teams. So that's gonna be an interesting situation. We still can't count on this because there could definitely be a team we're not counting on. And then here are the individuals as well. And then for the girls, there's only 4 teams being fielded, and we're ranked 3rd right now. Right. Kind of nestled pretty safe in between these 2 teams, but we'll see how that plays out. All right, parents, any questions on these rankings? And again, these are predictions only. They're super rough, but just to give you some idea of what our teams are looking like right now.
Coach, just a question on the 11-12 girls for the Pacific Shockwaves, like you talked about them not going. Would you consider them a non-participant and having the girls that say they finished 6th be a top 5?
No, yeah, it's top 5, top 5. So yeah, we can't. I mean, that I happen to know that because I know the coach and we spoke about it, but I don't know what everyone's plans are, and that doesn't matter. It's top 5 teams will go, 6 teams will not go. So and again, parents, just to be very clear on this, we're holding ourselves to the standard. During COVID, there's been literally no standards, but every national strip has had some standard that we self-imposed. And we're going with the regular guidelines that usually exist. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, coach. So for the 13-14 boys, if
Uh-huh.
only 5 teams are fielded, does that mean automatically the Warriors go because it's only 5?
Technically, yeah, that's the whole thing of like, getting your runners to the line. So
Okay.
if only 5 teams were able to field a full team and get the runners there. The reason why 13-14 is really low is because half of the 13-14s are already in high school. And so they usually are running postseason with their teams and are competing. So that's why the population of that age group drops dramatically by about at least 40%. So teams have a hard time fielding unless they pull in from their high school. Some do, most don't. It's one of those things. So,
Okay.
any other questions, parents?
Coach, the girls on the team, they have a good chance of going, huh?
Yeah, most of the teams, period, girls and boys, right? There's no team at this point that I would say forget it, they're not going to make it. There's nothing like that. The girls 11-12 are probably the ones that have the most difficult task at hand on this Sunday.
Okay.
But yeah, I think all the teams have a good chance of making it. So again, and the rule is if at this point, right, because we're taking just the teams that are competing, the kids have to show up to the race and cross the finish line. If the team makes it, they go with the team, right? If a kid doesn't show up this weekend, they're not going with the team. And we have to be kind of strict about that too. But show up, cross the finish line, crawl across it if you need to, but that'll constitute, that was third. My internet is having an issue. Okay. Any other questions, parents, about the rankings or anything else related to mostly regionals, right? We're going to get to nationals, but anything else related to regionals, and then we'll get into a few commercial breaks that we need to do before we leave. Okay, so let's talk registration for the race. We still have a few kids that are not registered. Please go to Facebook and reply that they're going and give us the t-shirt size, right? So, and just to clarify on that, we're not making t-shirts for regionals, we're making them for nationals, but we want to get the t-shirt size now. So based on those t-shirt size and whoever qualifies to nationals on Sunday, on Monday morning, we'll place the order immediately to make sure we get them in time and we can hand those out early and the kids can take them with them on the trip. So that's why we're requesting those now, but just to make sure people are clear on that. But again, if you have not registered on Facebook for this race, your child is not entered on this Sunday's race, so please make sure you do and provide the t-shirt size as well. What else?
Coach, can I
Yes.
have a question? I have a question. There is a cost, right? I think I just read the t-shirt. I didn't read about sending the cost for a regionals.
For regionals, there is a cost, but you're not paying. So the team pays for regionals and nationals. So we have
Okay.
funds budgeted out for that. So basically any kid that makes it to regional and nationals, we take care of that cost. So it's $15 per person, but please do not send any money to our Zelle account.
Okay, so as long as we put the t-shirt size and the kid, they're registered then.
They're registered, yeah.
Okay,
That's all you have to do this time around. And same with the t-shirt. The t-shirt's bought by budgets that by budgeted funds that we have for that as well. And we'll hand those out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great, thank you. What else? Fundraisers, right? So we've got, I think, we had the Pancake Fundraiser. So thank you everybody who helped out with that. That was, it's a tremendous effort, honestly, to get that put together, and it went very, very well. We have the USC UCLA game thing. Are we still doing more squares on that, or are we done? I don't know if anybody knows. No, we're done. Okay, I think I saw a no. So we're good on that, and then we've silent auction 2 of the boards that Coach Ralph made. We'll do another one soon, and we'll kind of try to get through those. And the remainders will be used as well, like at the banquet probably, and we'll use those for next season as well. Am I missing anything, parents? Any other fundraisers that I should point out? That covers it, right? Okay. Parents, any other questions in general? I think we're over our 20-minute mark, but if there's anything else, any general questions, specific ones we'll cover at practice, right? I'll make sure I'm in the parent area and we can have individual discussions.
Can you post the simulation or the for the races? Because I think you have to have an Athletic Plus membership. I signed up for a regular membership, but I think you have to pay.
You did the simulate. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me try to work on that tomorrow. I'm trying to, because I think I'm gonna have to cut and paste these things. Yeah.
Is it, and then what are the odds of them fixing the times from the last race, or should we be concerned of something like that happening at this next upcoming race?
I know. So we made us think about it, but quite honestly, I've yet to get any good response. I don't know why. I wish I could give you a better explanation. One, it's not that hard, honestly. And I'm not an expert, so I don't want to sit there and just whine at people, but I don't know why they have so many issues with it. I don't know why more coaches aren't complaining about it. We made an issue. They promised that they're going to make sure things like that don't happen, but they're also not going back and fixing it, which is not that hard to do. You watch the video, you manually record everything, and you update the results. I don't know why. So I'm hoping that's not an issue, but I can't, we have no control over that. So we'll see what happens. I think definitely we should be a little conscious of that and review results right away. I think I'll put a post on Facebook that day immediately. If you see anything strange, report it right away. We'll see what we can do, especially if it makes an impact, right, for kids that advance or don't advance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So coach, one more question.
Yeah.
So for Kentucky, if let's say a team makes it, how many kids are going from that team? Is it all 8 or is it the top 5? Or how does that work?
all 8. Yeah. So basically the teams that are formed now, if they make it as a team, the team continues on to nationals together. So at this point, the teams are formed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We're not going to go back and pick up other runners, right? Because they're on break now, right? They're resting. We had concerns like with the 8 and under girls because we literally wouldn't have enough to field 5. Now we do, which we're super excited. And then the 8 and under boys, we had a situation where not because they don't want to go or they can't go, it's because they don't allow the 6 and unders to run. So we were able to find a sub there. But outside of that, I think the teams are formed, and if they make it, they all go.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right. Any other questions, parents? General questions?
Yes, I'm sorry. I came in a little bit late. What was the percentage for the 13-14 boys?
13-14 boys is still up here. So it's there. So there's no percentage, right? I didn't really give that out on this one, but right now there's only 5 teams that look like they're fielding 18. So technically speaking, they may go, regardless of whether they're, first or 5th in the race, because it's only 5. But we don't know that. Again, this is the best we can do in terms of estimation. There could be another team that we're not counting on. It could be another team that hasn't ran a kid because they've been injured all season and they run him and now they have 5. So there's a lot of other factors there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, this will be recorded. So if anybody else missed things, the recording will be up tomorrow morning. You can watch this as well. All right, parents, anything else? All right, thank you, parents. Again, we'll see you at practice. Any questions you have, please ask. We'll be around. Any individual questions, anybody that we need to talk, please talk tomorrow so we can change that to either a yes or a no, and we can let everybody else know. And if you haven't registered, please do so right away. Oh, I know. If anybody has lights, bring them to practice, please. We'll have the new uniforms to hand out, and we need some lighting to make sure we can do that. So if anybody has those battery-powered lights, let us know so that 10 people don't bring them. But if one person can bring a light or 2, it will be helpful, and we'll hand out the uniforms. All right, parents, thank you very much for your time. I'll let you have time with your families, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, coach.
Thank you.
Yeah.